Hey guys. Okay, we're going to talk about layer mask today. Photopea calls layer masks, which I'll use synonymously with, add raster mask. So it's like a white rectangle with a black dot there. That's what we're going to be doing we're going to be searching and experimenting with the masks today. Now, what do masks do? Well, just like during Halloween or during a party, if you wear a mask, masks cover up your face. And in this case, they cover up pixels. Now, remember, my goal is to teach you to work non-destructively because I think you'll work quicker this way as opposed to deleting or cutting pixels out. We really want to try to use masks as much as possible. Now, even though I've taught you to do selections can work in a variety of ways, especially to do really quick sketches or really quick thumbnails of things. And they offer us a good chance to cut out things super, super quick. And then we can use masks to fine tune that. But today I'm going to cut out this bridge just like we did before. I'm going to double check by clicking on my quick mask mode. And sure enough, I have all of my sky selected. And I'm going to invert that selection. Take that quick mask mode off. Go to inverse. Now I have my bridge selected. Copy, paste. Here we go. And I want to start to add in some fill selections with this piece. I'm going to go ahead and use my polygonal lasso tool to do this. And I'm going to make some geometric shapes and fill those in just kind of all over the place on a couple of layers. Let's do and fill that. Let's have that go in the opposite direction. And I'm going to deselect this and I'm going to rotate this 45 degrees and let's see what happens. Here we go. Or maybe the other way. Let's see what that looks like. Or maybe straight up and down. Let's try that. And that goes the entire length. Okay. Now, we have done this before. We've done this before in a previous exercise where we did shapes and we adjusted opacity. And that was all good for that kind of aesthetic where we just had flat color on other flat color and some photographs intermixed. But what I really believe is that our interest is upped tremendously when we start integrating elements with each other. That means when we start to synthesize and fuse different things together to really challenge the viewer to figure out what is going on. And maybe it's my love of optical illusions where we can start to weave kind of flat color elements into our structure, in this case the bridge. So let me show you an example of that. I'm going to do my blue kind of pillar here, my column here. So I'm going to poke out that eyeball for layer 4 so we can just see that blue rectangle. And I'm going to apply our mask, our first layer mask right here. And notice what happens. We get a mask thumbnail next to our original thumbnail. And notice that that thumbnail mask is active because it has this dotted line around it. And that means we can start painting in black and white. And that's our mantra for whenever we use masks. We need to think of, well, black covers up and white reveals. If I have my default color set, hit my letter D, you can click the letter D and have those set, or you can click these little swatches here to get your default colors. I'm going to switch my foreground color to black, and I'm going to hit the letter X on my keyboard to do that. Notice that if I keep hitting X, that switches those back and forth amongst each other. So I'm going to have black here. I'm going to go to my brush tool, and I'm going to set my brush to a hard brush. Notice that we have this hardness meter set. So I'm going to take that down and click a hard. You have your preset and defaults here. These are hard brushes. These are soft brushes. Notice the difference between the hardness and the size is really easy to change by clicking the right bracket to make your brush bigger or the left bracket to make it smaller on your keyboard. And what I'm going to do is let's move this pillar where there's more going on, maybe right there. And now we can start masking out or covering up some of this blue design element here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is cover it up right here in this section. And my goal is to try to make this look like it's mixed in with this photograph now of the bridge. Now I can zoom in, and I want y'all to all think about this whenever you're working. I'm going to make my brush smaller. Think about whenever you find yourself either squinting at the screen or my opacity is too low. Whenever you find yourself squinting at the screen or putting your head closer to the screen, zoom in on your program. So I just hit Command plus, or I did the zoom tool and zoom in. Just try either one of those and it'll make it a lot easier on your eyes. So I just made a straight line painting in black. Notice that my black is, you can kind of see a little dot there. That's what I've painted to mask this area out. And a good way to do straight lines using the brush tool is by clicking once and then holding Shift down and click again. And that's the great thing about doing man-made structures that have a lot of straight lines, is that you can make these straight lines really easily. Now, this actually has some little bumps to it, and I want to capture those too, but now I can't see them. So I'm going to adjust the opacity here so I can see those. There they are. They were just hiding there. I'm going to click once there to mask that area out, and again here. And it looks like there's a couple more. I'm going to make my brush just a hair bit smaller and click those little areas. And it's these kinds of little details that really help sell your work. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to do Command 0. Command 0 I haven't shown you, but Command 0 fills the screen with your picture, and it's a good way to zoom out and get a feel for everything. I kind of like that low opacity look, but let's bump that opacity up again. All right, now we're starting to play here. Look at that effect. It actually looks like this blue stripe is intermingling and weaving through the bridge structure. Pretty cool. So let's keep going with this feeling. Let's make it weave in and out some more. I'm going to zoom in again, and let's focus on this area right now. I'm still on my mask. I'm still on my brush. I'm painting with black. Remember, our black covers up and white reveals. There's my single click and my next click with Shift held down, and there's a perfect straight line. Single click, Shift held down, and now I can get rid of the rest and cover up and mask the rest of that. Let's see what that looks like. Awesome. So now it looks like it's a basket weave. We're going under and over and under and over. And for this last one, let's do that again. single click, single click. And I could actually do this with a bigger brush since it's a wider part of the structure. And remember that this is a hard brush. With a soft brush, I'd be getting a fuzzier edge, a lot like what we did when we worked with feathering. And we'll use that soft brush on our next little exercise. I'm going to take the opacity down again. And I'm going to zoom into these areas. I'm going to make my brush smaller. Sometimes you have to click the brush to get it to activate. There's another little nubbin and none on that side, so we can zoom out again. Command 0 or Control 0, get you that knocked back again. Let's bump up that opacity again. All right, now we're cooking. Look at that. We have it going under and over, and this could have worked any kind of way. We could have masked out any kind of area we wanted to make this work. I'm gonna do this small area just to show you how small you can really go. I'm gonna make my brush as small as this wire. So I'm gonna left bracket that. So right there, and then I'm gonna single click, hold shift down and single click. And we have that. There's a little pink showing, but that's okay. I don't think it's too bad. Now we have some detail here, detail down there. Let's look at that yellow. This yellow, I want to do something different here. I want to take this yellow because it's so big, it's kind of covering over a lot of stuff. So I want to take this behind the bridge and let's see what we can do with it. And maybe we can mask some of the bridge this time because we've masked the actual blue shape here. This time we're going to actually use the mask on the bridge itself. So let's see how we can do that. It looks like we can take this in a new direction, and maybe let's move this to simplify it for us. Let's move this off the page. And remember that it's always good to have stuff run off of the page. And I think that in this case, it would be good for us so it wouldn't get too complicated to actually use that. Let's mask some of this structure and then this pillar too. And let's see what happens. I'm going to grab and make a mask here. I still have my brush set. Brush. Let's make our brush bigger. Let's see what happens when we take out that part right there. Oops. A lot of times you need to make sure that you're on the right layer. It looks like I am. Oh, but I've added my mask to the wrong thing, so that's okay. I'm going to add my mask to the bridge. There we go. And now we can go back here and mask out that structure. Again, a straight line. And then a straight line here for that yellow piece. There we go. And then this back piece, make my brush smaller. And again, this is the beauty of working with masks, that if you make a mistake, of course you can undo, Control Z, but you can also paint with white to get something back in if you don't like what you did. So here we actually have this little piece that's coming out here, and maybe we'll do part of that yellow coming down through here. Let's see where that bridge is because I can't see how far that yellow piece goes down. So I'm going to adjust the bridge opacity. There we go. And we can see some of that yellow come down. And let's see if we can mask out the bridge even more. Make sure I'm in my mask for the bridge. And it's going to be tough to get that point, but that's okay. Let's go to that area and that area. So it's almost like it's hiding from that pillar. Let's make our brush bigger, which is right bracket, and get the rest of this. And let's see what this looks like. Let's get this really tiny area, make my brush really small. Maybe fine tune that a bit. Now I'm gonna fix this area. It's a little bit too pink. So I'm gonna switch my color to white by hitting X. And that would give me my reveal again to reveal and paint back in that mask so I can reveal it. Let's see where we are. Command 0. There we go. Let's see what that looks like at full opacity. Awesome. So now it's actually cutting through there. And it's really doing like again, like an optical illusion. But again, it's having this kind of integration and interweaving of things that really add interest to your work. Okay, let us save this and let's try a couple more, guys. All right, I'll see you later. Take care.